So we've been asking everybody in our podcast today, give me one reason to still invest in cannabis. What would your response be to that? Hey everyone, back at the Benzinga conference in Miami. TDR on location as we're sitting now with the CEO of Tilt Holdings, Gary Santo. Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
How's the week been?
It's been busy, productive and busy.
Productive and busy. Believe this weather?
I'm so glad I left Massachusetts for this. If I wanted gray and wet, I could have stayed in New England.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it supposed to be 85 degrees and sunny there this week?
Yeah, it is. So I bet it's going to be gray and wet when I get back, though.
Anthony Verrill joins us once again. Wanted to speak to you. So first off, before we get into like some conversations just about the direction of this industry, for viewers that are not able to make this conference, what's been the sentiment as far as your experience so far, knowing that, let's face it, public equity market has been very challenging to say the least, but based on some of the feedback, what is some of the positives that you take over the last day or two being down here?
Yeah, I think the conversations have been more realistic. They've been more focused on operations and opportunity. I haven't had to answer a lot of questions about 280E or safe banking. It's like we're done talking
Let's talk about 280E. I'm just kidding.
Or even legalization. It's like it's all gone. It's like people are now looking at what can we do, and they're finally talking about the things you would hope they were going to talk about 2 or 3 years ago. Like, how do we become profitable? What's a good way to grow our businesses? How can we all work together?
Yeah.
I saw at least three panels so far where they talked about everybody working together as opposed to leaving it up to one group to have to carry the water for everyone.
Besides the obvious, what do you think's changed now that we're talking about it 3 years later? And when I say the obvious, meaning like how the industry's performing and companies need to make profit, but what do you think has changed where we are today?
Part of it's just the natural maturation, right? All the first movers who were just literally the money guys who raised the capital, they've all moved on, and what's left are the true operators. Now, not everybody necessarily is in the same place because it depends on the size of the company they built and they inherited. But it feels like folks are now looking at this like a true industry that needs to be operationally focused. You've got cultivation, you got manufacturing, you got delivery and fulfillment. So it's all things that there are plenty of roadmaps for how to conduct those businesses. It's just to this point, for some reason, everyone kept saying, "Oh, it's weed. It doesn't matter."
Yeah.
The rules don't apply here.
A lot today, huh?
Yeah. Just when does that not matter? When does a budget not matter? When does cost not matter?
It's ridiculous.
I actually did meet someone at the bar last night who just said, we were talking about like how much capital we have in our plan. He's like, "Oh man, you don't have enough. It's growth at any cost." I'm like, "Do you have a job?" It's like,
no, I'd probably be inclined to say no.
Yeah, I will give you my spot on the stage today if you go up and say it's growth at any cost and watch you get bum rushed out of this conference. It was crazy to have somebody even think that was ever a model, let alone it should still be the model.
That's crazy.
What are you finding that's exciting about the sector right now? Like, I know that you guys have brands. You guys also have Jupiter in the portfolio. I mean, product innovation, brands coming to the top. Like, what's your focus and what do you think is going to be exciting here?
Well, I love everybody finally admitting that to have a CPG product, you actually have to have a consumer that cares, and you have to listen to that consumer. And finally, it looks like the consumer is starting to speak. For the longest time, I think all of us just took whatever came out of the garden and said, "We're going to do with it."
Yeah.
You want to sell it as flower if it's high testing, put it through the lab if it's not. Now you're actually getting people who want certain products, so now you have to think it all the way through. So I love seeing that part of it, because if it's a consumer-oriented business, and it really is, we haven't been listening to the consumer.
Yeah,
we've been guessing, just totally guessing to this point.
I've heard that a lot today.
Yeah.
I actually spoke to a other MSO earlier today, and they were talking about how they've spoken to different dispensary owners that when they opened up their dispensary, they were unaware of the 280E tax code. Think about that.
I'm sure there's a couple of MSOs will try to tell you the same thing. Oh, we didn't know that a code applied to us.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I mean, it's not surprising because all the regulatory hurdles they have to clear just to open the dispensary.
Yeah.
It was probably the last thing on their mind, and you really don't have a lot of folks who are advising. Really,
that's
in
crazy.
This
yeah. Last time you were on with us, we discussed about what are some of the biggest trends that we will see, branding trends here in 2023. You think it's going to pivot into a CPG model?
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on that as to like what that means, and most importantly, if we're heading in that direction from when we last spoke?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think flour is always going to be king, and buying the high quality flour, packaged up or in jars, whatever, that'll always be good. But I think we're starting to see the proliferation of some brands. And some of the ones that really do the legwork, which is connecting with the customer, doing the education with the customer, all those pieces. If you just put a name on it, that doesn't count. Yeah, it doesn't count. And even going beyond the bud tender, because the problem I see right now is when you go into a dispensary, you're on the clock.
Okay.
You walk in and they're trying to get you, and if you're running the dispensary, you know you've got to get so many people through that sale. So you're in there, maybe you have 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending how long it takes to package it up. They don't have time to do a consultative sale the right way. Like, you're not walking around the floor and asking questions about this and what would you do.
Right.
You probably spend more time picking out a TV in Best Buy than you do buying cannabis that you're about to put into your body.
So
I
what's
think
the right approach then?
So I think you have to do a combination, right? So if you think about the wholesale sales, which is our world, we can sell the product, but then we've got to follow it up the next week in the dispensary, meeting with the bud tenders, and then doing pop-ups to help speak to their customers. This way we can get some throughput. And then we need the actual brands themselves use their platforms, their social media. They can do little cards that you can leave behinds to really get out there and push the education, so that you're not just saying I have something to sell to you and it's going to sell magically. You're developing a following, and it's a consistent following. And stop swinging for the fences in terms of sales. So a lot of times everyone talks about basket size. Well, how many times you go to a liquor store and say, yeah, I want a guy who's going to spend $1,000 every time he comes in?
Not going to happen.
It's called a drunk. You know? So, or CEO of a cannabis company.
Or a rapper.
So, or something like that. No, but
we'll edit that part out.
Give me something that instead is, someone's going to buy maybe $50 worth, $100 worth, but comes back every week or every other week, right? And they're developing the rapport and the following. That's how you get the loyalty. That's how people follow. And it feels like the consumer's really looking at that. And even the guys out west are now getting off of, I think, talking so much about the potency and saying, I can live with the mid-20s if it's got a good, consistent terpene profile.
Okay.
Find me brands that do that.
Yeah.
So,
do you relate to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I experienced last time I was in Colorado. Went into a dispensary and everything was about terpene profile.
Yep.
It wasn't about THC percentage. It's about how does everything synergistically work, whether it's got this terpene profile, CBN, CBG, and certain edibles.
Yep.
I mean, the bud tender really is like your gatekeeper.
Yeah.
So do you feel consumer education is more important, bud tender education is more important, or need to find a happy balance between the two?
It's probably a bit of a balance, because again, if you're on that clock right now, I think the bud tender's limited. Right? If the bud tender spends an hour with you at their point of sale, they're clogged up that register and they probably lost 2 or 3 sales. If it's the kind of store, and one of our stores actually has kind of an open floor where you don't go up to the point of sale until you're done. Okay. You do everything on a pad with the sales associate, and then you go up just to pick up what you bought. I like that a lot more, but too many dispensaries are still the old style. You go in, you walk up to a counter. And I mean, just think about that. How many times in your life when you buy something do you walk in and go up to a counter?
Never.
McDonald's, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? But if you go food shopping, you don't go right up to the registers and need eggs and just wait for them to assemble it. So being able to have that kind of a floor, and until that happens, I think you have to have kind of a hybrid approach.
That's a good point.
From a product perspective, I mean, what do you feel is more like the future of the CPGs? Gummies, vapes, edibles, beverages?
I mean, pre-rolls are always going to have a soft spot for anything, and then the infused pre-roll. But how many infused pre-rolls can you really? How many times can you throw keef at something, and say it's different? I think from that perspective, I think edibles will continue to grow. Beverages are definitely interesting. I think it's a tough thing to sell in a dispensary. Dispensaries are not natural beverage type places to sell it. They don't have refrigerators. They're selling them in small packs. You think about a Total Wine and Liquors or something like that. It'd be great if we could ever sell there. Then the beverage could just take off like crazy. But I keep hearing about beverages. I see them all over the place. I know we carry some in our dispensaries. But I think the good edibles continue to have a place. Someone had said to me, edibles are dying out. Not the good ones. We've got a great one in Coda, and my goodness, when you have that, it's scary good. I gave one to my wife. She's like, is this infused? I'm like, yeah, have another. So, it's like...
So a lot of the focus, as you said in the past, has been wholesale. 3 dispensaries now, am I correct?
3 dispensaries.
Looking to expand?
I don't know if we'll expand on the retail side.
No?
I think retail has a lot of overhead associated with right now, and I think a lot of these big MSOs are seeing that.
Okay.
So we had about 350 people. To open up 3 dispensaries, we had to add about 70. And that's to have enough people for the vault, for security, to have multiple shifts. You have to also build in case COVID hits. You have to have a B crew that comes on. And you look at all that overhead with the price compression, and the margins aren't what they used to be. And at the end of the day...
Why is that margins haven't been where they used to be?
Just the price compression, for the most part, right? So it used to be your keystone is, I'm going to take whatever I buy wholesale, mark it up 50%, let's go. But you're seeing more and more shops starting to sell closer to wholesale prices.
Right.
Well, then what's the point? If you're not marking that up a significant amount to cover that overhead, you might as well just sell wholesale at that point. You'll get better revenue per employee.
So continue with wholesale as the strategy moving
I
forward.
think for us it will be. I mean, you never say never. You
Yeah.
look at it. If we did do stores like the way we do now, is we really showcase our brand partners' products.
Yeah.
And those MSOs that buy a lot from us. So unlike most that do 70% of their own products and 30% of someone else's, we're flipped. We'll have 70% not our product, but products that we make for others or products that others buy from us have, and then the rest might be our backfill house brand. But we could do something more like that where it's sort of a best buy for flower.
Yeah.
We'll have multiple brands. We won't be dedicated to our own, but again, with the overhead, it's kind of tricky.
Yeah. When I look at your company, a lot of changes over the years, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And where you are today. So based on conversations, have you met with analysts while you're here? What's been some of the feedback? What do they like about the direction of the company as to where it's going?
Yeah, I think they're seeing the pieces come together.
Okay.
When we first talked about the strategy in 2021, they were skeptical. It's like, really, CPG? You don't even have a brand. How's that going to work for you?
Right.
And then us doing the math that didn't pay to build our own brand, and buying a brand is really no different than building a brand. It's going to be yours. You have to spend a lot of money. But as the partnership has started to flow, and we've seen results in our Pennsylvania markets, starting to see it in Massachusetts, they're seeing it. Now the question is, you say talk to analysts, who's left covering the space?
Yeah.
We've seen some big names drop. We were about to have some coverage pick up on us until they blew out that whole team 2 days ago. So
Yeah,
it's
one of
of
them was
those.
speaking here today, right?
Yeah.
We all know who that was.
Yeah. So that's a little tricky. But I think what's happening now is what we used to hear, we'd pitch our story and it was different, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like every other MSO. Half the business doesn't even touch the plant. And they would say, oh, you don't fit into our models. And they were looking for easy. But the problem is differentiated is the story, right? I mean,
Good point.
you don't need to carry 15 same stories.
Right.
So now I
Right.
think we're starting to stand out a little bit more. So there's more
Yeah.
interest. It's just they need to get approval to cover. I like the investor conversations. They're excited where we're going. They know that
I hear that a lot.
the stock is the stock, right?
Yeah.
We've done nothing worse. We've been one of the better performers on a percentage base, but we're a penny stock right now.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We put our head down. We don't need to go out to the market, and we just keep executing. So I think if we can expand and go into a few more states and continue on brand and keep with our strategy, it'll start to turn that tide a little bit. Big step for us was getting our cap structure straightened out, which we did about 2 months ago or so.
Yeah, we touched on that. Maybe
Yeah.
to refresh our viewers with that cap structure, what was it before and what did you change?
So we had about 90 million in legacy debt, 2 stacks, one that would have matured in November, the other one this past April, almost split even half and half. So for us, we were able to, through sale leasebacks and cash on hand, we actually paid off and paid down about 50% of that. So right now we only have about 48, 49 million in debt. And it's reasonably priced. And that's what we have going forward. And it's about a 3-year note on that. A lot of friends and family in there, a lot of existing investors from those 2 instruments that wanted to re-up again.
Yep.
So they came back in a second time. So it's nice. We have a good covenant-like structure, very simple, easy to work with. They have a couple of seats on the board, which we already had that with the prior debt holders. So it's been nice to now know you've got a good 3-year run of predictable payments and no debt cliffs.
Yeah. Okay.
Any new markets you're looking at, or anything that catches your eye?
I think that's where our brand partners really help us out. As we're looking across and seeing some of these operations, again, because we don't care that much about the retail and even the grow, depending on what market you're talking about. I could argue in Massachusetts, do I need to have all 24 grow rooms lit up? Probably not. There's so much biomass to be had. But if I'm pheno hunting, if I'm looking to do certain kinds of grows for certain brands, I have that luxury now because I go out and buy the other biomass to make everything else. So I think as we look at some of these other markets, looking for that middle space, the manufacturing, the production and distribution, but then having the brand partners who may already be in that market with somebody else saying,
Right.
hey, we have a terminate for convenience clause and we will jump with you the second you get in there, just tell us. So suddenly, while I will still never to California, that I will say never to. But, when you look at a Nevada, when you look at an Arizona, which is where our headquarters is, you look at Illinois, you look at a Maryland, that one probably requires a little more building out.
Yeah.
There's some opportunities to slide in there, maybe take over an existing operation, introduce the brand partners right away, and be accretive on the same year that you acquire it. So, big one for us though that we will light up is New York. So that'll be lit up, hopefully in time for the summer tourist season.
How do you feel about the black market in New York?
Same way everybody else does.
Yeah.
It's magical.
It's
It's
crazy. Every time I go back, there seems to be more of them.
Is there any
More
stories you
popping
can
up.
share, like example as to like would make people understand as to how bad the rollout has been?
I was hoping that when the farmers had the crops like just rotting up there, it's like you made all these farmers grow stuff and then you gave them no place to sell it. And now you've given them 5 stores, and then you've wasted so much time that now Long Island, I think all but 11 towns have opted out of of the retail side. So just medical only. So you have so flummoxed that entire thing up and you've harmed the people that you were doing this God's work for. I think the state will start to get religion. As we've seen the black market get closer to Albany, I think they're starting to notice, hey, wait a minute, it's happening here. A little NIMBY there, not in my backyard. So I think from that perspective, it's been astounding to me that it's just so obvious. You could see it in the paper. There are newspaper articles that could tell the enforcement agents, you can just go right here and ask for this person and they'll help you. And then you can put the cuffs on them. But I do think that at the same time, what you're seeing is some of those bodega models, they're really smart. They're lining up social equity folks to then suddenly be available the second someone tries to crack down and say, oh, look, you're harming social equity. The reality is they're harming it right now. The social equity people are the one that the state's trying to give a head start to. And the only thing it's done is give a tremendous head start to that illicit market right now. I mean, how crazy is it that for the longest time, right, we enforced the laws in a way that definitely prejudiced certain folks. Now we have this second coming. We're all woke now. We're going to do something different. So now we're not going to enforce the laws.
Yeah.
And in essence, we're still prejudicing the same people because we're not enforcing the laws.
Yeah.
It's like, wake up, guys.
So you were appointed to the NCR, which is the
National Cannabis Roundtable.
National Cannabis Roundtable. What are, I guess, some of the discussions that you have with that duty? Is it pertaining to a lot of the stuff that you just outlined?
So that's more at the federal level.
Okay.
And it's really trying to show that there is progress that can be made incrementally, and it's not the enemy, to just do it in bits and pieces. So having the opportunity to sit down, I'll be going down to DC later this month to sit down with some folks and really kind of talk through both some of the work we're doing on social equity with the Shinnecock Nation and such, to show that there are partnerships to be had, and maybe there's a way that regulation can encourage that.
We're hearing a lot of that lately, where they're encouraging congressmen to speak to CEOs from these companies to come to Washington and start sharing their story.
Yep.
Are you surprised that hasn't happened sooner?
I think there's never really been a strong advocacy down there, right? I think a lot of the MSOs try to do it on their own. You don't really have that group until you start to see the NCRs of the world come together. Yeah. And then get the MSOs to all play together and realize we have to lift this as one.
Yes.
We can't do one of these talk out of both sides of our mouth where, let's really advocate for this, but quietly not advocate for it at the same time. So I think now everyone's sort of trying to row in the same direction and realizing if you can demonstrate to Congress that MSOs can behave properly if incentivized, there might be a path forward. And I think that's always been the better way to regulate. You can't necessarily change 100 years of prohibition with one piece of legislation. But if you were to create certain pathways that the companies that are doing the right thing, there's something for them, they'll all start doing the right thing.
We heard that yesterday about moving
do you think we can ever
incrementally.
get it done? Moving the regulatory framework forward from a comprehensive standpoint, or you think you're incrementally?
It's going to have to be
Gets done.
incremental.
Yeah.
Because I think if the second you go comprehensive, there's always somebody that's against you.
Yep.
Right? And then that just stalls everything out. And
Can
then
you-
then you factor in election years, and just every 2 years you're in a vicious cycle.
It makes sense on paper, but walk us through what doing something incremental, as an example, versus comprehensive when we touch on that right now.
Well, I mean, even the scheduling, right? I think we talked last time. You get down to a Schedule 3, so 280E falls away. That's not full legalization, but it's better than where it sits right now, and it's not Schedule 2 because that doesn't really help you.
Yeah.
So that could be one incremental piece. And you could argue you could do something like that. Maybe you turn around and start to mandate, what do we have to do on the social equity front that's realistic? Giving people licenses isn't realistic, and just throwing them in the deep end of the pool. How do you support it? Do we each have to take on sort of a mentorship program that's legitimate, where we're putting capital at risk? And, for every dollar we make, we have to contribute a portion to another fund. I mean, there's been attempts at that. In New York, they tried that. I don't know if it's really panning out right now. But I think there's ways to incrementally make those changes. Obviously, the ones who might benefit out of the gates could be the people already in market. But I'm not sure it's the way everyone thinks, right? I mean, we talked about safe banking, and after both times of safe banking got shot down, 2 of the largest MSOs came out and said how cheap they just got capital for. So if the whole point was it's only going to help the MSO,
Crazy.
and I don't know who ran the PR for those 2, but it's like, thanks guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Well done. Leaning right into that left hook. So, I think the more we can do to show that we can be responsible.
Yeah.
It's not that the Last Prisoner Project isn't noble. It's not that expunging records isn't noble, but there's so much more.
Yeah.
And I look at what we're doing with the Shinnecock, and originally I thought we were just going to create a business that would employ some members of the nation and throw off some capital to the nation. But in building that business out, what we found is there's so much industry already on the reservation lands out there in New York. There's people already growing at really good rates that nobody really knew about.
Mm-hmm.
There's people producing, and now we can create an ecosystem where they're supplying the nation's own cannabis operation. So it's not just about who's working for the operation. We have supply contracts, we have grow contracts. You just created a whole community based around cannabis that now has a revenue source it never had before.
So how's that business initiative developing?
You got to stay on your toes.
Yeah.
I think because things move at certain paces where there's not a lot of movement and then bang, it's instantaneous.
Right.
So for us, we're focusing on getting the dispensary up and running and get some processing set up. But really all the partnerships we're creating throughout tribal members has been really encouraging to us.
Do you have a timeline as to when dispensary will open?
So I think we're charting to get it done in time for tourist season.
Okay.
I don't want to throw a hard date on it. I think the media has been a little tough on the Shinnecock in terms of every time they miss a date, it's as if they failed again. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think overall, getting it open in time for the summer, there's already a lot of traffic out there year round. But to get that open by May, June would be awesome.
Whereabouts is it located?
So I think it's considered Sunrise Highway at that point. It's out in Southampton.
Okay.
It's right there. There's a bunch of smoke shops around it.
Yeah.
But they're not allowed. They're not licensed at this point. Right now, at Little Beach Harvest, that's the name of the dispensary, will be the only licensed operator initially. They'll add more along the way.
Yep. Interesting.
Yeah.
You know your stuff. Refresh my memory. What did you do prior to cannabis?
So before that, I was in finance for about 16 or 17 years. And then I left the dark arts and moved on to casino gaming and equipment because I felt that was more noble. And then went over to life sciences, trying to recover my spot in heaven. So,
Can I get you a cigarette?
yeah, exactly.
Good stuff. So we've been asking everybody in our podcast today, give me one reason to still invest in cannabis. What would your response be to that?
That's a great one.
Isn't it?
Look, I think things are priced pretty low. The trick now is making sure you pick a company that's not going to cease to be there. But I think most of the ones who are struggling that much, people know about now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of really good companies out there right now. Everybody can see that on a breakup valuation, these are undervalued shops.
Yeah.
And I think while it's true you could go down a few more cents, I just think that the upside is there. So, and at the price point, you can actually get a pretty nice piece, for not a lot of money and not take a huge risk. So to me, I think you have to do your homework, do your diligence.
Of course.
But I think all these guys, the grow at any cost guys, they're all shaking themselves out at this point.
Yeah.
Everyone's pivoting. Everyone's starting to look at real metrics. So
for the ones that are doing the metrics and doing it good, there's still tremendous upside is the takeaway.
Oh, and they're just getting started.
Yeah.
I mean, these are companies that are just learning what it means to be, efficient. Same here. I mean, 2 years ago, we were just putting flour in bags and selling it for $4,000 a pound. Now we're doing 180,000 units a month.
Wow.
That's a big pivot. So to think
Huge.
we're doing it efficiently right now, no. But if we're still able to get on the plant touching side 30 or 40% margins while being inefficient, what do you think is going to happen when we become efficient? The prices are already down, so it's not a price problem. It's an efficiency problem.
There's your big takeaway.
So, yeah.
Gary, appreciate the time. You want to add anything?
I'm good.
This is great.
Pleasure's
That'd be
always.
tough to follow up on.
Yeah. So you're based in
Massachusetts.
You head to Arizona, once a week? Or
once a month.
Once a month.
I'll be going there next. So excited to bring this weather with me.
Big Boston sports fan?
Of course.
Man, oh man. Good time to be a Boston sports fan.
Patriots are now a little bit off, but that's okay. They needed a deep breath.
Well, you got 7 Super Bowls since the turn of the century.
There's a whole generation that has no idea what 1 in 15 looks like.
Right?
I remember those years.
Think about this.
Yeah.
7 Super Bowls, 4 World Series, the Stanley Cup, but they've been Stanley Cup contenders for I don't know how long.
And now they just smoke. Let's hope it holds up. But they just
And what
crushed
are the
the league.
Celtics won 2 champion?
We won one.
championship?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we almost won a second one, except the refs favored the Lakers.
Right.
But,
And Kobe got his 5th ring.
And they ran into the Heat a bunch.
Yeah. That's true. Appreciate the time.
Pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. And if you want to learn more about the emerging industries that we cover, then leave a comment below and let us know who you want us to interview, the questions you want asked, and the information that you want to learn. We want to hear from you. As usual, click on that bell for all notifications to get the latest information. Share this video with your network, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we would not be here without you. Thanks for watching, everyone.